Drew, you got
Can only schedule so much in one day.
you sound really big.
I am big.
Anyone else getting that from him? Like,
yeah, it's very like almost distorted.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll turn down my gain. It's amazing how we fight this battle every week because really nothing changes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
is that better?
That is better.
You turn down your gain. If you could turn up your tide.
What should he do with the all? Hey, I really love the March Madness joke too, Ryan. I didn't get a chance.
Work in progress.
To extol the virtues of that joke. That was good. So you got a lot of Sousa content.
Yep, that's what happens when you're a doctor of music. You become Dr. Sousa.
Oh my God!
Oh, that's good. And cue the music.
100.
I'm Bert.
I'm Drew.
I'm Ron.
I'm Ryan.
And this is the 100 Albums podcast where we discuss the ins, the outs, and the absurdities of a poster that depicts 100 seemingly random albums. And here we are at album number 63 as we continue going through these 100 albums that appear on a poster that Drew got a couple of years ago from his wife, Lisa. We first went through the whole poster and listened to each and every album and then shared our thoughts and reactions with each other via video chat. Once we were all done with that, we thought this might be a fun project to turn into a podcast. So let's get into this week's album, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars by David Bowie. Got to start with the vibe, guys. What are your first impressions?
Love this album.
Yeah, this album rocks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can keep it pretty simple. It rocks from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Without sway.
Agree. And I will say that my relationship with David Bowie really centered around his work from the 80s. So I was most familiar with, think Let's Dance. And Fame. And things like that, right?
The Stevie Ray Vaughan year.
So the this album, while I was familiar with the big hits, right? I was not as familiar with the entirety of the work, right? The concept, kind of the I don't know, just the work as a whole, rather than just kind of some of the pieces of it. So I had a really, really good time listening to this album this week, and there are songs that are like stuck in my head now, which is kind of funny. So
there's a lot of catchy on this.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of catchy on this.
Yeah.
Ron,
Yeah,
I like the call out for Stevie Ray Vaughan there in the 80s too, by the way. But I would argue that the best David Bowie 80s guitar solo is actually from Robert Fripp in the song Fashion.
Did he play that
Really?
song?
Yeah, it's
Oh, no way. I never knew that.
bonkers. It's like it's very avant-garde for what's going on in the song. It's pretty dang cool.
That's
Well,
cool.
it's Fripp. I mean, he's not a straight up cat, man.
He's like sideways and bent in half most of
Yeah.
the time. Yeah.
Although I will say I was familiar with Mick Ronson because he has a signature guitar. I think it just came out at Les Paul. And going through this, I'm a Mick Ronson fan.
He is.
Show.
He is wild on this album.
Dude, he has such great sounds. Such great sounds. And I mean, a good player, too.
Yeah, very tasty.
Yeah. Really, really liked it.
Are we going to open up the Stevie Ray conversation now, or are we going to bring it up later?
I mean,
did you just drop that, Ron, or you want to talk about it? Do you have something?
Oh, I ain't got shit to say about it other than
it just bears
go into it, Drew. Yeah,
bears necessity to say, essentially this is when Stevie Ray, not this, David Bowie is responsible for putting Stevie Ray on the map, and it's super cool. And I mean, I don't need to. There's no story that I have prepared to biography for you, but I'm seeing this right now. If you guys know the guitar player Joe Bonamassa, and he has grabbed a guy named Lockie Doley on keys on organ from Australia. And this guy has been viral. He kind of got viral in COVID years he's built his own keyboard to make it like a whammy keyboard. Ron, I've talked to you about this guy before.
I remember that. Yeah.
In fact, he just played in Knoxville. Bonamassa just played in Knoxville a couple nights ago. And anyway, I followed this guy, this organ player, for a while, and all of a sudden, actually, Roger Waters was going to pick him up to go on tour with him, and then COVID happened and blew the two apart, and then Roger didn't call him back when he redid the tour. But now Joe Bonamassa's got him playing, and he is soaring, and he's putting him on the map, and it's super cool to see because as far as the story I know, David Bowie, Stevie Ray Vaughan was opening for David Bowie on a tour in the 80s, and that launched Stevie Ray up into the world of where he became Stevie Ray Vaughan for sure. So
Bowie catapulted, well, I won't say catapulted, but he always had good guitar players around him. That's one thing.
I didn't know the Stevie Ray thing. That's fascinating.
Oh yeah.
It's an interesting combination, but
he
was opening for him, and then it just kept getting closer and closer. And
oh shit, Bowie wanted him to go on tour, but Stevie Ray Vaughan had just done Monterey Pop or some jazz festival and got a good reception. And so he was like, yeah, Bowie, thanks, but no thanks. I'm going to go do my thing, which is a hell of a thing to tell Bowie. No.
Yeah, I know, right?
Right.
Yeah, but I mean,
deep into fame.
Yeah.
Bowie.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't beginning Bowie.
Yeah.
Wow.
But, I mean, Mick Ronson, his career kind of got big because of Bowie. And then Earl Slick, another monster guitar player, was with Bowie too. So yeah, Bowie's got a good ear for musicians.
Well, you have to be if you're going to be the Elf King.
The Duke, Elf King.
The White Duke.
I was going to say.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about background. David Robert Jones, a.k.a. David Bowie, was born on January 8th, 1947 in Brixton, and he was raised in Bromley. He grew up in a working-class family. His father worked in promotions for a charity organization, and his mom was a waitress and a cinema usher. As a child, he became fascinated with American rock and roll artists like Little Richard and Elvis Presley. In school, he studied art, music, and design, which later, shockingly, influenced his visual approach to music. At age 15, David Bowie fought with his friend George Underwood over a girl. Underwood punched him, permanently damaging his left eye. The injury left Bowie with anisocria. I can't. Anisocioria. Anisocioria. An unequal pupil size is what that is, giving him the famous appearance of having two different colored eyes. I never knew that. That's why I love doing this stuff, guys. You find out these little nuggets, and it's like, wow, that's so cool.
That is a juicy dog.
It probably wasn't cool for him at the time, but it wound up being kind of a cool factoid. In the early 1960s, Bowie joined several bands, including the Conrads, the King Bees, and the Manish Boys. He adopted the stage name David Bowie in 1966 to avoid confusion with Davy Jones. His surname, Bowie, came from the Bowie knife. He experimented with folk, psychedelia, and theatrical pop. His breakthrough came in 1969 with the song Space Oddity.
This is ground control to Major Tom. You've really made the grade.
Released around the same time of the Apollo 11 moon landing, the song's story of astronaut Major Tom captured public imagination. It became his first major hit in the United Kingdom. In the early 1970s, Bowie reinvented himself with theatrical glam rock imagery. 1971's Hunky Dory included classic songs like Changes.
I've never caught a glimpse how the others must see the faker. I'm much too fast to take that test. Changes. Turn and face the strain. Changes.
And Life on Mars.
Oh man, wonder if you'll ever know who's in the best-selling show. Is there life on Mars?
He showed his mix of art pop, surreal lyrics, and cultural commentary. Next came this album, which we'll get to in just a minute. In the mid-'70s, fame, soul, and the Thin White Duke era. Bowie moved towards soul and funk and more American, in quotes, music. Diamond Dogs came out in 1974. Young Americans came out in 1975. That album in particular embraced the Philadelphia soul sound, which David Bowie referred to as plastic soul. It produced his first U.S. hit, U.S. number one hit, Fame, that I mentioned earlier, which was co-written by John Lennon, which I also didn't know. Around 1976, David Bowie adopted another persona, the Thin White Duke. This character appeared during the album Station to Station. That album blended funk, electronic music, krautrock influences. During this time, Bowie struggled heavily with cocaine addiction, paranoia, and exhaustion based on kind of how busy he was with his career.
Dude, there's a story where he recorded an entire album and doesn't remember it because he was so high.
So high. Ugh.
Yeah.
76 to 79, we see the Berlin trilogy. Seeking recovery and artistic reinvention, Bowie moves to Germany with his friend and collaborator Iggy Pop, working together with Brian Eno, a name we've heard before. He created 3 groundbreaking albums known as the Berlin trilogy: Low, Heroes, and Lodger. These records pioneered art rock, ambient music, and electronic experimentation. Scary Monsters came out in 1980, included the hit Ashes to Ashes.
But I'm hoping to kick with this light that is glowing. Ashes to ash and funk to funk it. We know Major Tom's a junkie, strung out in heaven's high.
Which revisited his previous character, Major Tom. Let's Dance came out in 1983, and this is where I was talking earlier about kind of what my experience, massive global commercial success with Let's Dance, produced by Nile Rodgers, included the hits Let's Dance, China Girl.
I could escape this feeling with my China girl.
And Modern Love. At this point, Bowie becomes one of the biggest pop stars in the world. So from there, you got more creative renewal. He forms the band Tin Machine. They released 2 albums separately as their own, as its own group. In the 1990s, Bowie explored electronic and industrial styles, like with albums like Black Tie White Noise, Outside, and Earthling. These incorporated drum and bass and techno influences. Later in his career, in the early 2000s, Bowie returned with critically praised albums Heathen and Reality. During the Reality tour in 2004, Bowie suffered a heart attack, after which he withdrew from touring. Then in 2013, he comes back with The Next Day, and his final album, Black Star, was released in 2016. And this album combined art rock, jazz, and again, experimental music. So let's talk about the rise and fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars specifically. Released June 16th, 1972, this album is widely considered one of the most influential rock albums ever made. It blends glam rock, theater, science fiction storytelling, and social commentary. also introduces the iconic character Ziggy Stardust, which was one of David Bowie's kind of alter egos. The album was recorded in 1971 and 1972 at Trident Studios, produced by Ken Scott and David Bowie. The Spiders from Mars, the backing band, included Mick Ronson, as Ron alluded to earlier, on guitar and orchestration, Trevor Bolder on bass, and Mick Woodmansey on drums. So it's a concept album. Bowie envisioned this album as a loose science fiction story. The narrative follows Ziggy Stardust, an androgynous alien rock star sent to Earth with a message of hope as the planet faces destruction in 5 years. The story arc roughly unfolds as humanity learns the world is going to end. Ziggy Stardust arrives as a prophetic rock star. Fame and ego corrupt him, and his followers destroy him. Narrative is partly inspired by I did just a rabbit hole dive on this one. Vince Taylor, a rock singer.
So did I. Dang it.
You see this too? Well, if you want to talk about, go ahead and talk about it, Ryan.
Yeah, Vince Taylor, which I'd heard rumor that this was based loosely on an actual person that Bowie met. So I don't know if you guys looked into him at all, but he was a rocker who was definitely playing on the like almost Elvis inspiration at the time, but in England, and but had the swagger, had the accent down, and had a hit song with Brand New Cadillac. And they were doing so well that like they're playing a concert in France, for example, and people were so out of their minds. It was like Beatlemania. They literally tore up the streets and like did property damage to go to try to see them play, right? So Vince Taylor was truly all the way up in terms of a rise to fame. And like a lot of those folks, he was doing a lot of drinking and taking a lot of pills, right? Well, the story goes, and this is, I actually listened to this straight from the bandmates talking about him. So it's a little bit better than rumor, I think. He went to London while they were still in France to go collect some money that they were owed. And while he was there, he went to a party and took his first hit of LSD and lost it. So he comes back like 5 days later to France. And
not 5 years.
5 years, yeah. And the guys are like hanging on because they've, it's if anyone's ever toured with a band, it's when you got the communal money situation, it doesn't mean you have a lot. You're all depending on each other. And so he shows up to the flat where they're staying, and he's like, so you think I'm Vince Taylor, but I'm not. I'm Mateos, the son of Jesus Christ.
Oh,
and
shit.
they all just like stare at him. They're like, wait, what's going on? And he's just like, he's looking at them like with complete sincerity. And they're like, hey man, you went to go get our money, right? Because we need to eat. And he looks at them. He's like, that's all you guys care about is money and earthly things. And he took the money out and set it on fire in the hotel. And
shit.
Which caused a whole problem. And then they had to rush to the show because they had a show, and he like came out and just started walking through the crowd in a robe and saying bless you to all the people. And they had to get him out of the, it was like he had a complete meltdown, guys. One LSD trip, and he completely
full on Sid Barrett.
He does cross paths with David Bowie, and I think better than me tell you about how that went down. Let's let David tell it for himself.
And then that one day, I remember on Tottenham Court Road, he dragged out this world map, and we were crouching on all fours outside Tottenham Court Road tube station, and he was showing me where all the aliens had their bases throughout under the Arctic and like in this mountain, and there's people stepping over our map, and I think, what the hell am I doing in the middle of Russia with this bonkers American looking at the map of the world, and he's telling me, and I thought, there's something in this, I'm going to remember this. This is just too good. And then I heard that in France, he went over to France and became quite a big hit over there as one of their competitors to Johnny Hallyday, And that one night he'd gone on stage without his band, but dressed in white robes, and told everybody that indeed he was the coming Messiah, and he just got booed off. I mean, they just went mad, and it was like the end of his career. So Vince Taylor really became very much one of the building blocks of the Ziggy character, you know, because I just thought he was just too good to be true. He was of another world. He was from somewhere else. And he was definitely part of the blueprint of this strange character that came from somewhere.
Awesome.
And, you know, to the credit of how good of a performer Vince Taylor is, you hear David Bowie saying he was an American.
Yeah.
And he was not.
He wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, he was from Islesworth. So he owned that stage persona so well. Anyway, fascinating to me that all is part of the creation of one of my favorite albums, and I had never looked into it. Bert, did you have additional stuff that you found out about Vince?
You covered it all. Just that, I mean, the kind of the broad brush notes that I had in my rundown here is everything that you covered. Just that this guy Vince Taylor was pretty crazy, like after the effect of the drugs and that kind of stuff, but that David Bowie had taken inspiration from some of, you know, real life stories or whatever, right? And that kind of inspired, along with the theatrical rock of Mark Bolan and his band T-Rex, science fiction aesthetic of Sun Ra. There were some other influences in there, certainly, but that was a big, you know, since Vince Taylor believed that, you know, he was the Messiah and kind of and that kind of thing. So anyway.
Sometimes I think, you know, not that I've necessarily known anybody that's taken one hit of LSD and completely crashed out, but I wonder if I paid more attention to the world around me, if I'd have more inspiration to write more music, you know? I mean, if he could create, like, he's like, oh, it's just this guy that lost his mind and he's going to become Ziggy Stardust in a way, you know, obviously, but yeah, there's inspiration all around us. That's what I'm saying. We just gotta be watching.
It is interesting too. I mean, I don't ever mean to poke fun at mental illness, because certainly, I mean, he was suffering, and listening to that entire BBC piece, you can hear that, like, his son's life did not turn out like he had thought it would when he was young, you know. But it is amazing how something, you know, the one decision like that can completely change your life. And that this is not me getting all Nancy Reagan folks about drugs here.
Say no to drugs.
I am, but you know, it's worth noting, I guess. Everyone's brain is different, and chemicals affect brains differently.
Yeah. It's I've always counted my blessings and upbringing and self-judgment that I haven't ever put myself in that position thus far in life.
Well, thanks for that BBC story, Ryan. I'm going to put a link to that in the show notes so that folks can go out and see the whole, or listen to the whole story that's kind of behind that. So key songs from the album: Starman. Ziggy Stardust.
Came on so loaded, man. Well hung in snow white tan. So where were the spiders? While the fly tried to break our bones.
Suffragette City. As I mentioned at the top of the episode, those are the three that I knew. Right, those are the ones that kind of I think people they charted or people heard on the radio or whatever. But it's the rest of the album that was really kind of new to my ear, so to speak. So in 1973, Bowie dramatically killed, in quotes, Ziggy Stardust on stage, announcing the end of the persona during a concert in London. And this was because he was starting to feel consumed by the character and exhausted because of the, kind of constant barrage of media and touring and things like that. So Starman, the song from the album, is the only one that charted. It spent 9 weeks on the Billboard Hot 100 chart, peaking at number 65. This album in total spent 89 weeks on the Billboard 200 chart. It peaked at number 21. He has 16 other albums that performed better than this album on the charts, which is kind of interesting to me given the album sales. Top 5 for David Bowie. 2016's Black Star, 1.9 million albums sold. Changes, 1990, I believe it's a greatest hits, at 2.1 million. Best of Bowie from 2002 had 3.3 million. This album, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars from 1972, 7.5 million. And Let's Dance from 1983, 10.7 million. So this album is the second best-selling album in his catalog, and yet it didn't chart nearly as high as some of his others did. And I think, to me, that speaks to the slow burn of this album, right? It's continued to sell records long after its release in 1972, where other albums may have charted higher upon initial release, but then kind of fell off. So the longevity, right? The standing of it.
Yeah, it's got that Princess Bride effect.
That's a good call. Yeah,
it didn't do so well at the box office.
Inconceivable.
But I think it's secured itself pretty well in cinema history.
Cult classic kind of.
Well, yeah, and I mean that speaks volumes to the myth or the lore maybe of David Bowie being like he has run a current throughout history since he started as one of those people that everybody says, oh yeah, Bowie, I listen to Bowie, like I'm cool, and they want to be in
2 songs.
Right, but in Bowie's case, I feel like I've always allowed it, like I'm the policeman of this, but because he is so cool, you can't help not like this guy in his music. You can't. I mean, it's just so cool. Everybody gets a pass with David Bowie, I guess.
Yeah. So in 2003, Rolling Stone ranked this album as number 35 on their list of the 500 greatest albums of all time. It retained the same position on the updated 2012 list and was re-ranked number 40 in 2020. In 2006, Q Magazine readers ranked it as the 41st best album ever. NME ranks this album 23rd in their list of the 500 greatest albums of all time. Time Magazine chose it as one of the 100 best albums of all time. And in March 2017, this album was selected for preservation in the National Recording Registry by the United States National Recording Preservation Board, which designates it as a sound recording that has had significant cultural, historical, or aesthetic impact on American life. In sum, Bowie's influence spans music, fashion, and culture. He's a pioneer of gender-fluid stage personas, major influence on alternative rock and electronic music. He's inspired countless artists, from Madonna to Lady Gaga, sold over 100 million records worldwide, and in 1996 he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. One of the most influential and innovative figures in modern music across 5 decades, he continuously reinvented his sound, his image, and his artistic identity, helping to shape rock, glam, electronic, pop, and experimental music, while also leaving a mark on fashion, film, and digital and visual art. We didn't even talk about the fact that he's been in a bunch of movies, so there's a whole lot of stuff going on there. So that's what I've got from my rundown, fellas. Other stuff that you have to add?
I just you were talking about the rundown in terms of his discography and stuff. It was really weird in real time watching the last album come out and then have him die like
pass away
3 days later.
That was quite a moment.
Yeah, but he has had reach in so many forms of art. I'm glad he's on the poster, and this is the album I would want. So to the creator, if this is a poster secrets of the poster, I really appreciate that you chose this album.
So that's something I want to talk about later.
Oh,
but if you want to, we can dive into it now. Why is it this album that's on the poster?
Well, can we?
His most well known?
So some of the theories that Drew, you were going to say something. Can we what?
Well, I just didn't want to move on from that moment of his release of the album and death.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. We can get into the Poster Secrets question a little bit later.
I just wanted to add to it. I mean, you had that was so crazy. It was 2016. For some reason, I relate to that being some of my pre-COVID memories, but that's quite a bit before COVID. But
Yeah.
I mean, Prince died 3 months later. That time of year, that year was wild, and it was the fact that he released that album at that time. It makes it so special and unique. And I mean, what a way to go out as a lifetime rock star, beginning to end, burn out, not fade away, put out an album and
it's a great album.
It's
not
a
like it's not like it's a
album.
dinger. I mean, he
a
even
super cool cover and everything, but
he brought in Maria Schneider to do jazz orchestrations on what was that, Sue? I mean, like that's a banger.
It's his fifth best-selling album. You know, of all of the, what is his total catalog, like 21 albums or something like that. Of all of them, it's the fifth best-selling one. So yeah, you're right, Ryan. It's not like it's you kind of went out with a dud.
Yeah, no, I feel like some of that might be because of its release in accordance to his death, but whatever, it doesn't matter. But yeah, that was just it's a crazy moment in rock history, those few. And I remember people going, God, enough already, because somebody else pretty big died around then too. It was a lot. There was a lot going on. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
No, and I was, we're talking about his movies and films and stuff. It bears referencing that he got to do a show as a cameo. Have you guys ever watched Extras with Ricky Gervais?
No. I'm familiar with it, but I'm not seeing it.
He plays the premise of the show is that he and his friend are always auditioning to be extras on films, and that allows like a new celebrity to be on each episode. Sure. And he had an episode with David Bowie, and David Bowie essentially on the spot makes a song up about Ricky and makes fun of him, calling him chubby little fat man, and like in front of him, and he gets the whole bar singing along.
Oh man!
And I'm thinking to myself, if you're gonna get roasted, who better to get roasted by than David Bowie?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's like getting roasted by Don Rickles.
Yeah, see if you can find that clip.
I'll see if I can find it and drop that into the notes too. Other thoughts before we hear from this week's sponsor?
I love that. We'll probably tack this in later again, but I mean, when a rock star creates this, what do we call it? Alias? I don't know.
Like an alter ego.
It's such a cool thread that's gone throughout rock time. Many people have done it. Beyonce did it.
Garth Brooks.
Oh yeah, Garth Brooks did it.
He did, but we're talking about the cool examples.
I think it's so neat in that he played it through, and then he killed the character. I mean, like, I think I understand it. I read in part of my reading that Aladdin Sane, the album that came right after this, he said was Ziggy Goes to America. So he was deep in this moment, and using that as creative fodder at the very least to write stories. And it's just a neat, and I think that's why this album is so important in his timeline, is because people want to know the origin story of Ziggy Stardust, and so it just defaults back to this record.
Well, yeah, there's something about that, and Ryan, I think you had mentioned it, the lore kind of that surrounds, or maybe Drew, you did, I don't know, that, when there's a story involved, what is the background, and where does this all, what's the genesis of this, and where does it all come from, and where does it go, and that kind of stuff, and there's something.
I mean, standalone, it's an amazing album, but
right, exactly,
that's probably why.
And at the heart of it, they're great songs.
Yeah,
I mean, have you guys have seen the movie Life Aquatic, right?
Yeah.
With Steve Zissou.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they hired Brazilian singer-songwriter Seu Jorge to be one of the cast members on the boat, and he sings David Bowie covers in Portuguese with just guitar.
Eu não vivo seu filme, não sou de jogar, não bebo e bebo, não sei.
And they're amazing. I actually ended up. You can buy the album of just those.
I think I
and
remember when you
have it.
got that and put it on the records channel, and I was kind of like, "That's really an interesting find there." Yeah.
Anyway, just Bowie's fingers. They're everywhere. How about that?
Yeah.
That sounds kind of gross. I'm going to take that back.
And see. Okay, hey, let's take a break to hear from this week's sponsor, and this is one that I got and it was reached out to, and
Pitching
this
in.
is I'm trying to participate, trying to pull my weight in this endeavor that we have here to make tons and tons and tons of money. So here's the copy that they sent over. Hey there, gamers, are you lonely? Do you spend endless nights and weekends at your desktop in your secret lab gaming chair when you'd rather be on the couch watching a movie with a special someone? Did you watch the Ryan Reynolds movie Free Guy and think that Jodie Comer's character Millie was just heavenly? Well, wipe the Cheeto dust off your thumbsticks and set your controller down. It's time to drop in to love. Introducing Call of Booty. Drop in, match up, never solo queue again. Tired of carrying your squad and your love life? Still getting ghosted harder than a camper in a dark corner? It's time to lock in with Call of Booty, the only dating app designed for gamers who know that KD ratio matters, but so does chemistry.
Oh.
Check out these features that just hit different. Proximity chat flirting. Smooth talk your match, like you're in the final circle. Skill-based matchmaking, because love shouldn't be unranked. Clutch or kick dating mode, impress your date, or get sent back to the lobby. An emote compatibility test. If they don't vibe with your dance, they're just not the one. Whether you're a tactical mastermind, an aggro pusher, a sneaky bush camper, or a professional loot goblin, there's someone out there ready to duo, trio, or squad up for life. Download Call of Booty today, because the only thing better than a victory royale is sharing it with someone special. Call of Booty, where every match could be your last first date.
Oh man.
That's not a bad deal at all. That sounds pretty cool.
I'm not sure what that says about our listener audience that we're getting dating app advertisements.
Yeah. Well, I think
sometimes it's just a numbers game, dude.
Yeah.
True. Wide reach, right?
Well, and I think our podcast very similar to Battle Royale video games is eventually we're just going to get down to one listener.
That's good.
When dating becomes irrelevant.
All right, guys. Time for the good, the bad, and the ugly. On the re-listen or thousand times listen of this album, what strikes you? What is good? What is bad? And is there any ugly?
I have like 15-20 seconds of ugly, but I'm gonna go on the good first. I'm trying to be a positive Ron today.
Ooh.
I know, right? Must be the booze. I mean, Suffragette City. Holy shit, that's a great song. That's probably that in Blue Jean Genie.
Small Jean Genie snuck off to the city, strung out on lasers and slashback blazers, and ate all your razors while pulling the waiters.
Love those songs. Although it ain't easy.
Think about all of the strange things circulating round. It ain't easy. It ain't easy. It ain't easy to get to heaven and go down.
In listening to this album, that's I think my second favorite song, and quickly shot up the favorites list. I love the production of the drum sounds, the echo that's on it. I think that's so cool. Train Spotting. There's some songs on Train Spotting where they really use that, and since watching that I've kind of cued into it. But on this one, I really like the production. The use of echoes, reverbs, the guitar sounds are fucking wonderful. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I love 70s guitar sounds
Well,
sometimes.
that glam rock guitar sound to me, that's a very specific sound that they've got on the guitars. Many of these tracks. Go ahead, Ron.
Oh no, that's the broad stroke, Ryan. You look like you got something to jump in on there, boss.
Soul Love really highlights that delay that you're talking about on that drum track.
Stone love, she kneels before the grave of brave.
And the sax on Soul Love. They both have this crazy stereo delay. If you've got it in headphones, it's going back and forth. It's really fun.
I think
Anyway.
overall the production to me almost gives the lie that you're listening to a live performance. And I think that's part of what makes this one really crush for me is it doesn't sound, even though it's clearly there's a lot, we're talking about some studio stuff already, but it feels like you're there. It doesn't feel like they're spending hours retracking stuff. They feel like they could almost happen right in front of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ziggy Stardust, that this song is all
Yeah.
that's all I can think of, because they slip out of time in like the fills and when they're going in between sections, and then they get right back just like you would live. It takes a minute. It's so cool. I love that you brought that up, because that's just I definitely felt that the whole time.
And there's an energy too. And I know it's difficult to kind of put a finger on it, but sometimes you don't have that oomph, that live energy when you're in a studio, but this feels natural to me.
Yeah,
For all the musicians.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Ryan. It feels like it's a live performance, like you're closing your eyes and the band is just right there in front of you and they're playing. I mentioned the kind of the glam rocky guitar sounds. So Ziggy Stardust, the opening boom, doo 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 doo, right? That kind of lead guitar line, and the way they've got a little bit of fuzz on it. It just sounds so cool to me. Drew, you mentioned saxophones. Like there are saxophones and flutes, and there's a bunch of kind of wild instrumentation on a rock album, right? And I thought that was really cool, kind of pulling in some of these other timbres and these other sounds. And still, it still fucking rocks. It's not like I'm listening.
Would saxes make it not rock? I mean,
No.
Yes.
Don't misunderstand my. I'm not dogging on saxes or other instruments, but blood, sweat, and tears.
You got no money and you got no home. Spinning wheels all alone. Talking about your troubles and you never learn. Ride a painted pony, let the spinning wheel turn.
Sounds very different than Ziggy Stardust, right?
Yeah.
And yet they're using instrumentation on this album that would be on a Blood, Sweat, and Tears record, right?
Dude,
I'm not dogging on Blood, Sweat, and Tears either. I love them, but
the saxes are amazing.
it's great.
On Soul Love, you get not only the background Barry sax,
Yes,
but
A boy and girl that talking new words that only they can share in you words.
love that Barry sax.
a very dorky alto solo, but it's amazing. It's perfect for the song. Like it's
Well, on Moon Age Daydream, is that a Saxon recorder solo? or like there sounds like there's two instruments there.
I think that's the one where there's a flute there.
Okay, all right. I was struggling to figure out what exactly that was. I mean, I dig it, but I wrote in my notes, great saxon recorder.
Yeah, I did a really poor job in my notes indicating which songs had which of these things. So the other thing that I had here was there's some really good stuff here with time signature. I really felt like it's not just your straightforward 4/4, kind of rock. There's some 6/8 things that are happening. There's one section of a song where they go into 6. I think it's 6/4, but it's not a standard meter that they're using in every song and every part of every song. And I thought that was a really good.
I think even
felt good too.
Within that same concept, Bert, I feel like in standard time songs, the syncopation that they use is very interesting.
Yes.
I mean, you brought the intro to Ziggy. The second half of that phrase, it's like it's just off enough, that's what makes these so hooky, right? The rhythms and the notes are all in the right place. I would also argue that for this album, the track listing is all in the right place.
Yes.
I love starting side 2 with Lady. I love that the energy pushes to the end with Suffragette City and Rock and Roll Suicide to finish off the album. I mean, everything just feels like it's where it's supposed to be on.
Yeah. It's a great flow to this album.
Yeah.
So on Starman, the chorus is deliberately based off of Over the Rainbow. The interval leap, the octave leap. And I mean, it got stuck in my head, but now it's like this fantastic mashup in my brain of Over the Rainbow and fucking Starman.
So Ron,
should put that in a band method book because they like to do that now.
Right?
Does that link this song or this album then to Eva Cassidy?
If you watch this album during Eva Cassidy's movie, they line up.
The link, Ron, you had mentioned the link to Somewhere Over the Rainbow or some of these kinds of things. For me, I heard a link, and you bear with me, but I can connect this album, specifically 5 Years, to Jay-Z and Alicia Keys. If you are familiar with the song Empire State of Mind, there's a very similar, Alicia Keys plays a very similar descending piano chord progression.
Yeah, I'm out at Brooklyn. Now I'm down in Tribeca, right next to the Narrow. But I'll be hood forever. I'm the new Sinatra. And since I made it here, I can make it anywhere. Yeah, they love me everywhere. I used to cop in Harlem. All of my Dominican.
That is, we also hear it in 5 Years as well. So I'll definitely drop little samples of that in the final product. But I was like, man, this is oddly familiar to me, and where am I hearing this? And I kind of dug around a little bit, and I was like, oh yeah, that's what this is. It's Empire State of Mind. So.
Speaking of 5 Years, in the research, I read somewhere that this was called one of the best opening tracks for any album.
This song is so amazing.
But it's not the best opener I've ever heard to an album.
I don't know,
What,
man.
what do you
What
guys
is the
think?
best opener, Ron?
For
You
me, it
gotta-
is.
Oh, way to call me out, Dick.
Yeah. So compare it to what you think is the best. Yeah.
I mean, we've gone through a lot of albums here, and I legit am struggling because it's early. But we've talked about a lot of great openers, and I don't know. I love this song, but I don't think it's, one of the best opening tracks of all time.
Let me offer why I do.
Yeah, so Drew, counterpoint. This
I
is like
hadn't really-
Crossfire.
I hadn't really necessarily ranked it as the best opener, but what I'm saying is when I put this album on, in that you get the vibe of this track immediately. You don't have to build into it. It is like you open a page and it's an illustration that you can take in all at once within the first beat of this song. And you just get this feeling, you get the understanding of what is you don't understand the story yet because it hasn't happened, but I just feel like this song gets me right in at the very beginning, and maybe that is the fodder for that claim that this is one of the best openers, because you're right there the minute it starts. It's not a slow fade in.
Yeah.
It's not a intro and then a verse. You're just right in it, and much less with an auto harp playing, which is just weird, but it's not weird in this song. It's just another beautiful sound in the background. And I think this song and the next, Soul Love, highlight the drummer. This drumming is like drum machine drumming. It's like it's so solid and so reliable and so vibey and groovy, and does not get in the way of anything. It doesn't showcase itself at all, which is not what I'm saying drummers should do. But in this case, functionally, it's perfect playing. And I think this song and Soul Love really just slam you with that right away. And I don't know. I think it's a 1-2 punch for a great beginner, in my opinion.
No, I love it as an opener. I'm not sure. Well, I think we would have to have an entire podcast on what's the best
opening
because
song.
I mean,
I
like
agree
even
on
some of
that.
Conversation.
some of the albums that even I haven't cared for as much have had great openers. Like, isn't "Welcome to the Jungle" the opener on the Guns N' Roses album we did?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, come on,
Yeah.
it sets the stage for the whole album too.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Way
we
way
could
to
go
bring
down
back
a
my
big hole.
way to bring back my trauma, Ryan.
And I'm going to give it a 2, but it's the best opener of all time.
That's funny. That's funny. Well, yeah, Enter Sandman starts Black Album from Metallica, right? And so it's a good opening song. It sets the, like you said, Ryan, it's a good sets the tone.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to hit you at the right time. We've probably talked about that on every podcast to really dive into a full mood of something. But for what it's worth, I think, and I didn't know that song as well as others up until several years ago when I started paying attention to this album more. And I really like that song a lot.
Yeah.
I did too.
So I'm a little partial to it.
I do have to poke fun at myself because of this album. I love Suffragette City. It's the only song off this album I knew, like other than Ziggy. So through the research, I realized that, I had been singing a lyric wrong all these years.
Love that.
Okay. I can't wait to hear this, Ron.
And in Suffragette City, I always thought the line was, "The smell of fat chicks put my spine out of place." and I always thought that was an odd lyric. And then I
It would be. It
discovered
would be.
last
Somewhat
night
odd.
that it's the mellow thighed chick. Put my spine out of place.
So maybe Ziggy and Freddie Mercury are getting together. So Freddie Mercury's got the fat bottom girls.
Right, yeah. But I laughed hysterically at myself last night because
Wow.
it's one of those things where, you know, you're like, it can't be right. So I actually looked up the lyrics. Always wanted to, never did. And then I did last night. And I was like, holy shit.
Well, Ron, I appreciate your vulnerability.
Yeah.
This is
Thanks for coming clean.
this is a therapy session of sorts.
So that's a whole lot of good. Ron, you had mentioned you've got about 15 seconds of bad. Is there any other? I mean, I did not find anything really bad with this album. I mean, even down to like the timing. It's 11 songs. You're in and out in about 40 minutes.
I'm not done with my good yet. If I could,
I'm sorry, Drew. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I didn't really open that up, but I tacked on a few things that I had to some of your comments, guys. But the way that Rock and Roll Suicide builds.
When you live too long, oh no, you're a rock and roll suicide. Shit breaks the snarling as you stumble across the road. But the day breaks.
His builds are, I think, amazing parts of his construction as well. A few of these songs, they don't start low and get high or anything, but they just keep blossoming. It's like onion layers. And that one in particular, Rock and Roll Suicide, is awesome. The way that they change, he changes his voice. He adds, you talked about horns. He adds horns in the end. It's just so well built, and it just provides this fantastic bloom of a piece to end this record on. And Moon Age Daydream to me is a flat out masterpiece. Not enough can be said about it. I'll simply put it at this: the guitar playing on this it gets me every time. It is just, man. We've established I'm a Pink Floyd fan. I'm a Dave Gilmour fan, and the guitar takes me straight to Echoes. We have mentioned on the Pink Floyd episode Live at Pompeii. If you are interested and still haven't gone to watch that, you can sit there and watch Dave Gilmour sit on the dirt of the Pompeii ruins and just go off on his guitar with a metal slide with massive speakers blaring his sound out to all of Italy and probably deafening people. And the sound of that is unbelievable that you can even record without that volume, the sound of it. And this is the only other time I've heard a guitar playing at that level of tilt. And I just freaking love it. I can't get enough of it. It's so cool.
Dude, that solo at the end of that song, holy shit.
Yeah, and it's not notey. It's not, virtuosic. It's just perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You were talking about Rock and Roll Suicide building. I love the chord at the end. That's my favorite part of the song.
Yeah, it's this album is wild, man. It's wild.
You're wild, man. Wild.
That's insane.
It's no wonder it changed rock and roll. I mean, and you know what? Speaking to the concept, I don't know if this is something I read in passing or whatever, but I was understanding that the concept came after he wrote the album. Like he wrote and recorded at least most of the songs, and then put the story together. For what it's worth.
Interesting.
That's pretty interesting.
I didn't see that, Drew. That's interesting.
Yeah. He rewrote a bunch of the songs.
I know that
he came the concept and then went back and rewrote some shit.
I did see that. I think it was Starman was the final song that was written, and it was added as almost as an afterthought because the studio or the record label wanted a radio friendly type of song, another song that they could release as a single or whatever. But I just figured that he'd already had the concept kind of at least loosely formed. So that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So that's all lots of good. Any thoughts on bad or things that you would have loved to have seen improved? Is there a particular song you'd want to remove from the album?
The only bad I have is the beginning of Starman. The dissonance, it just, oh my God, it made my skin crawl. But then it turns into a wonderful song. That's my 15 seconds of, But other than that, I don't have bad. I sure as shit don't have ugly on this.
What do you got against dissonance?
It just, it did its job. And that's probably a wonderful thing that it did that, because that's what dissonance does. But it just, for some reason, it just really struck a chord. And I just didn't like the chord it struck.
Funny.
That was a good harmony joke there.
It was. I was just going to say, was that intentional or was that...
Sun shines on a dog's ass
pun.
every now and again, man.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to have a bad of any type, it would have been Starman. Actually, I'll add to that, Ron. Not a bad or an ugly, but I feel that the sections of Starman are two different songs that are incongruently put together. I don't feel like that song works for me all the way through.
And
I have no problem with it, but
and based on what I read, that could be a result of, if it was thrown together, kind of, hey, let's just throw something together at the last minute to put on the album. That's something that would be more radio friendly or whatever.
Yeah, maybe that does.
Maybe it was kind of an unfinished piece, and they just kind of tacked it on there. I don't know, but
it works. It really, unless I've never really gotten bent out of shape about it until I've been trying to think with an analytic point of view, but
I didn't have any bad. This week was one of the better weeks for this project, for listening and doing research and stuff. I just had a really good time with this album. So, let's talk now about poster secrets of the poster. Why is this one on the poster, do you think? I know we'll never know for certain.
I think it's a combination of its lasting legacy, great songs, and because it's on a poster, I think that the album art is iconic as well.
Yes.
Not to mention there is a European bend to the list, and being Bowie, I mean, he was big over there and obviously there. So I think that's kind of a hometown favorite, for lack of a better phrase.
You know what I saw in looking around at this about that beautiful album art is that it was taken in black and white and recolorized. That's why it looks as weird as it does.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I didn't look into it, but that was a statement I blazed past.
That's really interesting.
Because it has a unique, and being recolorized in 1972 is much different than being recolorized in 2026.
Yeah. So here's a question that I have in my notes that I'll pose to the group. So as I talked about in the rundown, at one point, David Bowie was like, "Hey, I'm going to do a band, the Tin Machine, right?" And my question to the group is, "Hey, why this album is David Bowie, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, but at the time when he toured and stuff, he was Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars backing him, right? So why did he not just say, I'm going to do the Chris Gaines thing, right? I'm going to be Ziggy Stardust, and I'm going to release the album as Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars." I wonder if, and I couldn't find any research on it, but I wonder if it was one of the things, again, where the record label was like, no, you've made a name for yourself, or you're building a name for yourself as David Bowie. I don't know. Just thought it would be a good kind of thought experiment.
It really is such a fragile thing, like that I'll never experience, but your brand being so important and hinged on every little move you make, whether that could be an awesome choice or a terrible career ending choice.
Yeah. I mean, I would, I'm sure that they had to keep, because also David Bowie was already a stage name. So at a certain point, like, you got to stick with something here,
Sasha Fierce. Okay, hey, let's talk about results and ratings. Ron, scale of 1 to 10, where are you on Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars? Rise and fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders.
I'm probably at a 7.5, 8. Like, I'm gonna buy it. Next time I see a copy. I really dug this, and the only Bowie I have is Changes, which is a greatest hits. So I think it's time to do a deeper dive into Bowie.
7.5 or 8?
8.
You must choose 8.
Wow.
Which did you say, Ron?
Jesus, I mean, you fucking nail me down this early in the morning, man.
Hey, man, I'm trying to be precise. This is going
man.
This is going in the record. You know what I mean?
Man.
Hey, man.
Leave me alone.
Ron's saying an 8. I said an 8. Drew said a 10, and Ryan said an 8.5. So originally, our average score was an 8.83, which put The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and The Spiders from Mars at number 11 out of 100 albums on the poster. So, second chances, gents. Drew, Ryan, would you change your score?
I'm satisfied with 8.5. Yeah. And if you're going to ask, yes, we own it.
Mm-hmm.
That was my next question.
I know.
Spoiler alert. Drew, I mean, a 10.
Yep. I feel like I'm pretty liberal with 10s, but I'm a pretty liberal guy, and I love my 10s. When I have an album that I think is worthy of a 10, it's simply as a 10.
Yeah, nice. Okay. So Ryan owns this. Does anyone else? Ron said he's going to purchase it. I'm going to get it.
Yeah,
I put it in my
this should be in all of our collections without a doubt. Jeez.
Yeah. All right, guys, it's that time. Let's go to Margaritaville. If David Bowie or this album, Ziggy Stardust, had a restaurant or chain of restaurants, a la Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville, what would it be called, and what would the theme be? I also have 4. Ryan's got 4. Ron has 3. Drew, did you throw up some numbers too there?
A couple. 2.
You have a couple.
They're
We're bringing the heat for Ziggy.
I'll tell you what.
Kick us off, Drew. What do you got?
Oh, man. No, these are so lame. Straight from the titles, I've got 5 years in which it's more of a experience than a restaurant. You order something that you plan to eat in 5 years. You don't have to wait 5 years for it at the table, but just like Ryan and his mystery record shopping, all of a sudden in 5 years, you get a DoorDash style delivery at home of this meal that you put together 5 years prior. Might be cool.
All right. I like it.
Taste
I'm
change.
I'm here for it.
And the other one's hang on to yourself, in which you can only eat with one hand because the other hand you're hanging on to yourself with.
Oh, nice.
Short and sweet.
Good.
Functional names for
Love
this
it.
week.
Goodness. All right, I got 3. We're gonna go with Piggy Startup. It is a greasy spoon that only sells pork sausages and black coffee. And then we have a salad bar called Stuff and Vinaigrette City Buffet.
Oh,
Vinaigrette City. I like that.
And then my last one, Drew and I were similar. I have a movie theater that sells high-end wieners and bratwurst that is a favorite of Paul Rubens called Hang On To Yourself.
Man. Going after Pee-wee.
R.I.P. Paul.
Well, I'm not sure how I follow that up, but I'm going to try. I've got a bulk candy store that kind of focuses on a specific brand. It's called Ladled Starburst. And a classic steakhouse, but all the seating options are for solo diners, and that's hanger all to yourself.
Nice.
A soul food restaurant with side items and no mains called Succotash City.
Oh, I like it.
and a breakfast joint featuring scrambled eggs, quiches, and omelets called It Ain't Over Easy.
Oh,
Nice.
It ain't over easy. I like it. So I'm gonna go connect that one. My first one's a farm to table restaurant where all the food is, it's cooked in, very clean ways, and it's called It Ain't Greasy.
Nice.
I've got a vegetarian food truck called Ziggy Starfruit.
Nice.
I've got an ice cream joint creamery called Spoon Age Ice Cream.
Yes, that one seems just like it's there.
I mean, it's there, right? And I've also got a French bakery called Warm Baguette City.
Nice.
Yeah, it's Spoon Age ice cream. Do you get Dippin' Dots?
I mean, maybe.
It's the ice cream of the future.
It's the ice cream of the future. That's right. All right, guys. Closing thoughts, additional takes. Shit, we forgot. Anyone have a hot take about this album or David Bowie or other thoughts that you haven't been able to surface yet?
I do. Oh, go.
I was just going to say, I think, if you haven't listened to this, you should do so.
Yes.
But also, if you're unfamiliar with the last 3 of his albums, they are not like this at all, but very rewarding listens.
Yeah.
I will have to
I think
check
that
those
speaks,
out.
I think that speaks, Ryan. It's a really good point because I think that speaks to his kind of notion of reinvention. He very rarely was stagnant and doing the same thing. He was always kind of, building.
Yeah,
on.
he has eras, very Tom Waits-esque.
Yeah.
Did it.
Here we go with another Tom Waits reference.
Nice.
Yeah.
Here we go.
My hot take is that without Ziggy Stardust and this album and David Bowie, we would never have the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Interesting.
And as I was listening to this, I was sitting in bed listening to it, and my wife came in, and we love Rocky Horror Picture Show. I mean, shit, we try and go every year. I was like, baby, you've got to listen to this album. If you like Rocky Horror, you're going to fucking love this. So I played her some, and she's like, and I showed her some clips of the videos and such. And she's like, yeah, I need to listen to this. I really like it. So,
Interesting connection.
There's very a lot of connections.
That's a lot. I'm not sure how I feel about that because I also feel less than lukewarm about Rocky Horror Picture Show. So, and I love this album.
did I just taint your judgment there, dude?
Well, let's leave my taint out of it.
I think those could be mutually exclusive opinions.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I'm Ryan. I'm the same way. I Rocky Horror Picture Show does nothing for me except for boost my feelings about Tim Curry as an actor, right? But I've never really enjoyed that movie and whatever. But I can see the line you're drawing though. There's definitely some
yeah, you can't deny it.
So. I could even draw a line between Tim Curry and David Bowie's character in Labyrinth, and because I think that I think Tim Curry could have done that, honestly. Yeah. But what can't he do?
Exactly.
True story.
Yeah. All right, folks. Now, please go listen to The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars and let us know what you think. Hit us up with a voice message at speakpipe.com/100albums. You can email us at 100albums@burdislow.com. You can check us out on Instagram and Facebook at 100albums podcast or round it all up at our website, 100albumspodcast.com. What are we doing next week, guys?
Yeah.
Well, no, you're the producer. You tell us what to do.
Next week, we are going to be chatting about The Queen is Dead by the Smiths.
All right.
A little bit different vibe, but it'll be a good conversation. So until then, thanks so much for listening as always, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Later, turkeys. Ryan, when you were like poloing me, you're like, I kind of want to like have some fun, but I feel like I have to go to bed and be responsible because we have a responsibility to the podcast. I was like, nah, fuck that. I'm gonna stay up because When you saw that the orange balloon on the floor, the guy in the background was our friend of the podcast, Nate Walker. He's actually in my kitchen right now. His family's here. They came up with a surprise. Like this was just a last minute thing. He's doing some.
I thought that voice was familiar.
Yeah. So we had some cocktails and we on the couch like hanging out. His wife, and his son came up, and they're gonna go out and do some more like photography and stuff for his project that he's doing. So I told Ron I did not get a good night's sleep. Stayed up late, had too many cocktails, and here we are, bleary-eyed and ready to rock.
Are we being responsible today? Because I'm starting with irresponsibility.
Oh my lord! Little hair of the dog.
No, man.
Just the dog.
Just the dog.
He lives.
Yes.
Then you didn't.
Say
you
hi.
didn't go
You
hard.
can say hi.
You didn't go hard enough if he's standing.
Yeah.
Right?
They said we didn't go hard enough last night. If you're still standing.
That's all right. I had some discomfort down below. We went hard enough.
You sleep well? Because I didn't.
I know I didn't sleep well enough.
Sorry, man.
It was a good night.
Good to see you.
Love you, bro.
Love you. Take care.
Nice to see you, Phil.
So I was gonna say, I know I totally interrupted the Eva Cassidy gag there.
It had run its course.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
So
Don't need to be crabby about it.